Good morning, everyone. Hi, Vonnie.
Hi, Christine.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mimi. How are things down south?
Actually, I'm in Springfield.
You are? Are you working on your house or something?
No, my husband had a procedure yesterday, and
Oh, I know you've had some struggles there, haven't you?
yeah, it's not going so well, so we're still here.
Oh. At least you have a nice house to stay in?
Yes, yeah, and thank goodness for us that no one rented it, so we got to utilize it, so it's good.
Hi, Patty.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm always good, or
Fantastic.
try to be always good. And if I'm not, I fake it.
I love it. Absolutely.
I know, right? That's what you got to do.
Who wants to be drugged down by, oh, woe is me.
So
I
true.
know.
I didn't sleep well. My cats are bugging me. That part's true. In case you see him running by, see, looks like, oh, Julie Aubrey's here from Evanston, Illinois.
Great.
Coming in. Bonnie, just so you know, I usually start about 3 minutes after for all the stragglers, but we end right at 11. Sometimes it's
Okay.
11:01. I really try to keep it on time. You know how that goes.
Yes, I do.
I tried to make a couple phone calls real quick, and the people are trying to call. Oh, sorry, they're in Zoom meetings. Can they call you right back? No, never mind. I'll call them later.
I have a new commitment to not scheduling meetings for a full hour in the coming year. Not programs like this, but
Right.
meetings are on a 45-minute or
Oh, good for you.
15-minute or.
I always leave a half an hour at least on before and after. I'm in Cottage Grove, and so if I have to drive up to Eugene, that doesn't, give me time.
That's right.
Our district governor is here.
Cheers.
And you guys are gonna have to change your name so we actually know that you're not District 5110 is your name.
Hey, if we don't know who he is by now,
Yeah, but our guest might not.
Oh, that's true. You're
We
right.
have to think of everyone. We're a welcoming Rotary bunch. And Marvin's here from Redmond. Rob is here. Bev Walker, you're here. And Jane Falls is here. This is going to be fun. We have to be on our best behavior. We have a chamber person here today.
Oh, stop.
So we have to
If we don't know how to have good fun at the chamber.
That's right.
And sometimes that means, good trouble.
Good trouble.
Fun trouble. Patty knows that well. Patty, Jane. I see some very familiar faces.
Probably. Hi, Julie. Nice to see you here. You look different with your hair up and your glasses on.
Hi, good to see you.
Now, you didn't get to come last month, so do you want a few minutes to give us an update from Rotary International?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, righty-dighty. Let's see. One more minute. Let's see. I got somebody in the waiting room. Admit. You guys can chat amongst yourselves, I'm not taking notes yet.
But you're recording us.
Oh, so only clean jokes. You hear that, Stephen?
I actually, if you have time at the end, I would like to put out a possibility and get a little feedback from people.
I will give it my best shot. You know how hard it is to wind this thing up.
Well, if there's not time, that's fine. I just have something that we just learned about yesterday that I'd like to share and get some feedback on.
Is it about our topic today?
Not specifically, but it's definitely about a huge Rotary presence in the community.
Okay, well, I'll give it a really good shot, okay?
And if not, I'll talk with you on the side and I'll talk to Gary and Vonnie individually.
Okay. So nobody's getting out alive.
Chris, you can't
Okay.
leave us hanging with Jane on this one. We have to have time.
I
for
know
this.
it. I was gonna
Huge,
say, I might
she's
as well have her
huge.
go first.
But I don't want to take away from the topic of today. This is
I'm-
really important.
You know what they do at the greeters meetings at chambers? They put a little timer on the phone and it starts barking if you talk over a minute. So I've learned a lot from going to those meetings. And I can use it on you guys because, you know, you might need those barks. Except I haven't figured out how to use it, but I know how to bark, so I could just do that on my own. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and get this started. Make sure that I don't have anybody else in the waiting room yet. Okay. Well, welcome to the February 2022 version of the District 5110 membership forum, where you all are going to solve you all's problems. First of all, I'm going to ask Julie Aubrey to introduce herself to you, for you that might not know her. She's all the way from Evanston, zooming in to us, and give us a quick update, brief update if you can, Julie.
Absolutely. I'll keep it brief. Hi, everyone. I see some familiar faces. I am the regional membership officer for Western United States. So, and actually this year I'll be celebrating 10 years at Rotary. So I've been really blessed to see Rotary in its many forms all over the world. Quick updates. You know, we're still in this thing, and I think today's topic is wonderful because I think we're all still approaching the pandemic from different angles and different feelings of comfort. So, you know, utilize those resources. There are the Rotary Club Health Check, there's the Membership Satisfaction Survey, and in the past, I would recommend sending it out once a year. I would say at this point, maybe semi-annually, maybe once a quarter, not the whole survey, but like doing that check-in with your members, because I feel like we've gone through many different phases of things that draw us in, things that we're burnt out on, different kinds of service or different ways that we want to engage. So checking in regularly would be really huge. And then also heads up, there's going to be in March some more resources and information coming out about Rotaract and how to better support and engage with the Rotaract community. And also there's a bunch of new courses on the Learning Center on My Rotary. Check them out, really great stuff. And you know, take them at your own pace. And then the International Convention in June is still set to be in Houston. So we're, you know, asking folks to just prepare yourselves if you're planning to attend, to be safe and to best engage. And we really hope for a wonderful event. And that's all from me. It's really great to see you all.
Thank you for making it this month. Let's see, Jane. Okay, you've got our curiosity.
Okay, just very quickly, I want to let you know that we, meaning Pete Gribsko and myself, were on a call yesterday with the organizers of Oregon 22, which is the big international track athletic championships that will be held in Eugene this summer in July. And they reached out to us, and they are looking to us to have a presence at the Riverfront Festival. And we suggested that we have a physical presence with a canopy and the ability to do video and so forth, and talk about what Rotary is and what our areas of focus are. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. I'll be having direct communications with DG Jerry and with our next DG, Amy, because this could be a really big opportunity to highlight who Rotary is, what we do, the fact that we're both local and international. And I just think that there's a lot of cool opportunity. They talked yesterday about if there are videos, they might want to put them up on the giant screen. So it could be a really cool opportunity, and it seems really relevant to membership. So I wanted to just put it out there. It's in July, so there's a lot to be done in just a few short months, but I don't want to be, dancing around the edges, doing something just that Pete and I have been at this point invited to. I wanted to put it out there. And again, DG Jerry, and past District Governor Cindy, and future District Governor Amy, I'll send out a message as soon as we have a little bit more information.
Okay.
And Vonnie, I think you're pretty involved in some of those conversations as well. So I just wanted to put it out there. I don't want it to, be a big giant surprise to anybody. And I'm going to need some guidance and direction on how and what we might do. So that's it.
All righty. Well, let's get into our program because we have a lot to talk about as far as Rotary trying to maintain neutrality in a polarized world. And, Rotary isn't trying to do that in a vacuum. I've been involved in chambers of commerce for the last 30 some odd years. And it's an issue across platforms, across associations. None of us want to alienate our membership. So I thought it would be fun to bring Vonnie Mikkelse in. She's outside the scope of Rotary. She's in the Chamber of Commerce. In fact, she is the president and CEO of the Springfield Chamber of Commerce. She's a native Oregonian and is alumni of Willamette University. And she's on all kinds of community and regional boards, as you might expect. And she's the past chair of the Oregon State Chamber of Commerce, where she currently serves on their board of directors and their government affairs council. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Vonnie. I did make you co-host if you have anything you want to share. Otherwise, Vonnie will give us her opening comments, and then we're going to talk about it.
Thank you so much, Christine. So whenever I attend one of these Rotary meetings, especially one like this, I think I'm very humbled, because I'm certainly, and even on this topic in particular, I feel less of an authority as much as I do a peer learner, given the circumstances that we find ourselves in today, particularly in the last couple of years. I think it's only intensified, and our roles as leaders of our organizations and in our community, with a voice of influence and, a position of leadership within our organizations, we have an obligation to do the right thing and to take on the responsibility in the most difficult of times. So I believe the topic today, as Christine explained it to me, is political divide. And I would say that in the broadest sense of the world, our communities are facing a lot of challenges in terms of nichification of our political beliefs and understandings, and goes back to a couple of key, I think, things that perhaps maybe I would even say my grandmother taught me when I was 5 years old. And that is, we'll talk about that, but I do want to call out a couple of things that I think organizations, associations like chambers of commerce, member organizations like Rotaries have an advantage, I think. And the challenge that we have is that our membership is extremely diverse, and it crosses all political spectrums, crosses all backgrounds, experiences, representations. It's a microcosm of our communities at large. And so when we find conditions outside of our control, many of them happening, then we have to reflect and understand that it's happening, much of it is happening to our organizations. The question becomes, what part of it do we control, and what can we do to facilitate any kind of positive impacts or outcomes? So the Chamber of Commerce, where it might be different from where it is different from Rotaries, I would say, although maybe I can be corrected if I'm wrong on this, but just on first reflection is a key part of our mission and our priority resource when it comes to resources is our work around advocacy. Now, that doesn't mean it's all legislative advocacy, but it's advocating for business, for strong economic outcomes, for opportunities, for good investments in infrastructure and education. The challenge becomes that not everybody agrees on what that good investment is, or what that good regulation is, or what that good policy is, what good resources are. And so I think that what we've come to understand, so we're all grappling with this, what we've come to understand, or what I came to understand particularly, seems like all of a sudden the veil was lifted over the last 2 years, and most of it, not all of it, but most of it had to do with something that we didn't even foresee or predict 3 years ago, and that was a global pandemic. Mm-hmm. And how we got here maybe is less important than, in my opinion, what we have done along the way, and what we continue to do, and what we can, and how we do that successfully. I would say that one of the core root causes of what we're experiencing is, and there is a lot of data, there is not an association, a national or even global association, that has not been looking at this trend for the last 5 to 10 years, but that is a reduction of trust in what otherwise was credible, trustworthy institutions in our community. So that root cause of a disruption or a diminishing of trust among even scientific data, even local governments, national governments, even chambers of commerce. We have to face that and figure out how we can maintain or build trust. I would say that trust is based on a couple of things. First of all, we have to give time and space to providing credible information. We can't just assume that this source says it's this way and pass that along and present it as the information that you need to absorb, and so we have to pay close attention to our sources of information, and then how we communicate back out to our stakeholders or members that information. So credibility is key. Giving time, we don't have enough time. It's like a deficit, a huge deficit. We all feel this. We can't expect ourselves to do it right all the time, but to at least pause and give time to a conversation as opposed to an assumption. So I cannot tell you how many times, day in and day out over the last 2 years, I have taken phone calls, not all of them pleasant, let's say, the memorable ones being mostly unpleasant, where there's a false assumption at root, that the root of the cause is a false assumption. If we give time and space, first of all, to listen, and not to try and convince, but to listen, and then time and space to lead with curiosity. Why did you interpret our communication? Let's say it's that. Why did you interpret our position as such? What do you feel the position should be? What do you feel we should be talking about, or who do you feel we should be talking to or listening to? That takes time. So giving time and space, not contributing to the divide, but giving time and space to having a conversation and a dialogue is something that I think we as leaders of and influencing, a voice of influence need to be especially committed to. And then the third thing is, I will say that for organizations like Rotaries, we have a strong, and chambers of commerce, we have incredibly strong traditions. And we're also evolving and changing. So we honor the evolution of our organizations. We honor the modernization of the circumstances around us. We honor the diversity that is inherently the strength of our organizations. And how do we continue to navigate through influences outside of our control that have to do with technology, that have to do with diversity of opinions, to have to do with activism that is strongly rooted in belief systems. In addition to those two things that I mentioned, I think that what we can certainly continue to go back to and rely on with a very purposeful commitment is our missions. What is our mission and what are our values? And are we honoring both of those in the way we continue to lead in our organizations and the things that we do that are tied back to our mission? So our mission and our values, and that gives us a leg up because they are, truly good missions. They are truly good values. We have to be sure we're doing a checkup on those on a regular basis. At the Chamber of Commerce, for example, we have, the National Chamber of Commerce, we have the State Chamber of Commerce, we have regional coalitions, and then we have our local Chamber of Commerce, and we have full control and authority over the decisions that we make at the local level. And so it's up to us and our board leadership and staff leadership to have a continuous, a commitment to continuous inquiry over, are these the values that are still true to our members and our community? Are they upholding our mission? Are they worthy of commitment to? And I think that when we ask those questions, again, lead with curiosity as opposed to lead with assumption, which oftentimes can be false assumptions. That's a self-reflection piece. That's a hyper-awareness piece. Then I think that we can better serve our members and our community at large through even times as super challenging as they are now. I'll kind of hold it there. I've got all kinds of things, Christine, that we can go to, but I want really, like I said, I feel less the authority and more the peer in learning and talking about these things. We do a lot of this within the chamber, and I think doing that again with our community organizations is incredibly valuable and important. And I have a couple of questions that I could lay out there, Christine, but I know you're the pro at this, so I'll follow your lead.
Well, thank you for those opening thoughts, because that really gets us thinking on something that translates so well to Rotary, doesn't it, you guys? Maintaining and building trust is something that we've always got to focus on, and it's harder to lead with curiosity sometimes than it is to lead with impatience or lead with a judgment. And we have to keep our minds open and listen to what people are saying so they feel heard, and ask them those questions. What do you feel that we should do, or where should we go, or who do you feel should be involved or listened to as well? So those are such important things, and keeping our mission and our values in mind, because those, you're right, Vonnie, those hold true across whatever challenges we're going through. And this isn't the only one we'll face, I'm sure, in our lifetimes, but it's a big one to conquer at the moment. So I would think, Vonnie, I would like to hear, now you've got me curious about what your questions are. So why don't you tell us one of your questions, and we'll go out into a breakout session and talk about that question and come back and see what everybody thinks about it.
Okay, well, I've got 4. Let me start with, well, let me start with this one, since we were talking about trust. What is the, in your experience and background, personally, I think, what is the source of trust and how do you gain trust? And that could be as a leader in your organization, or it could be in your personal lives, I think.
Your business, okay. So what's the source of the trust in your area of expertise, and what can you do to gain it? All right, so here we go. I'm going to give you 10 minutes to talk about that, and we'll come back and see what everybody said. And Vonnie, I think you'll end up in one of the groups. Won't that be fun?
Thank you.
Here we go.
Christine, I hope you don't mind. I'm just hoping to be a fly on the wall today and hear what people are talking about.
I'm going to make you a co-host then, so I think you can do that way.
Oh, no, it's okay. I mean, I was cool with just staying here until folks come back. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay. How about you, Cindy? Do you want to be a fly on the wall and jump around in the rooms? She must have stepped away. But that's what I like to do, is I like to pop into all the rooms and hear what they're saying, and then pop out and go to the next room. And
well, I'm cool with staying here if you want to do that, and I can.
That's fine. That's fine. You won't be lonely then, right? I really appreciate you coming and updating us.
Of course. I'm sorry I couldn't make it last month.
Not a worry. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to start backwards because I always run out of time. Three. Well, can you get off the internet? I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. I'm just having some issues.
All right, we're back in general.
Well, I can tell when it's a good breakout session because nobody came back early. Nobody.
We stay too long?
You waited until, they booted you out.
True.
Well, so what did you talk about your source of trust and how you maintain it, possibly build it in this polarized world? I'll start with Jane, who was in group 4.
Thank you. It was really fun to meet Mimi and John. I had never met either of them, and we had a lively conversation and could have gone on for another 20 minutes. But and I will summarize, but please jump in, Mimi and John. We talked about how polarizing our current political situation is, and how that there's fatigue around issues related to COVID, and how organizations have had to adapt. And people are tired of that and tired of being at odds with one another. And at the end, we kind of talked about the importance of reminding ourselves as Rotary clubs who we are, what Rotary is all about. Remind ourselves we're apolitical and a-religious. We're an international organization with local clubs. And to remind ourselves of the 4-way test, and to focus our energies on those projects that energize us as individual clubs, and let that be the driver that brings us together, even while we recognize that we're on very different paths sometimes politically. Mimi and John, you have anything to add to that?
I think Jane said it well.
It's no small order though, is it? I mean, it's good to continually remind ourselves. Rob, you were in room 3. Would you mind giving us a summary of what you talked about? You look like you've been taking notes.
Just a couple of notes. One is that every club's context is going to be a little different. So the stresses and strains may be more acute or less acute. I think we all agreed with what was said earlier, that we all are Rotarians because we do share, if we are Rotarians, we do share common principles. The 4-way test, the service above self, which means above politics and religion, and other kinds of beliefs that we come together around what we're about. And I think if we can emphasize those things, I think our group felt that emphasizing those, leading by example, in terms of maintaining those values in front of the club and what we do, and highlighting the things that we are doing together, as opposed to things that might drive us apart. Look at the things that we're accomplishing. Make people feel proud to be part of a Rotary and its core ethics and values. I think that's part of it.
Look for the commonality instead of what
And
divides us.
highlight the positives. Highlight the positives. There's a lot of negativity out there, but to show people that by getting together, we achieve things that we share, the values we share, the things we're trying to accomplish together. Highlight those. Highlight them all the time.
Thank you. And Rob, just for everybody's benefit, what club are you with?
With Corvallis, Rotary Club of Corvallis.
Thank you. Let's see. Session 2, I'm hoping Bev Walker can give us a little rundown of what you guys talked about in room 2.
I think Jerry was going to do it, but
Oh, do you?
I thought he was. But anyway, I'll say what I want to say, and if he wants to jump in there. We talked about it. Trust comes from leadership in our club anyway, and that's a helpful thing if you have really good leadership. We talked about being a Rotarian automatically gives you that trust, usually in a club, because we all have the same goals, like everybody else has said. And yeah, we do, when some conflict in our club, conflict comes up, the leadership really helps us out in trying to smooth it all out and get to the get everybody talking again. And anyway, Jerry or Bill or Becky, do you have any other comments about what we talked about?
Yeah, I think you did a nice job of summarizing. I mean, we were challenged with the question at first, source of the trust, and then we just centered on leadership. I mean, you have to trust leadership, and if you don't trust leadership, and then what Bill Ralph has said, you try to hold back from ridiculing or mocking or scoffing, just unreasonable criticism of anyone. And I had added, when I have conflict with people, I always look for establishing where the points of common ground. Where do we agree? Can we start agreeing on and then build from there? I think those are nice steps to take.
You bet. Thank you. That's a good summary and good to reiterate over. John Scarborough, you were in session 1.
Yeah. So I wrote down 5 points, and I'll try to get to all of them, but I'll be short with them. One of our, Debbie Amin, she said that she was listening to the CEO for Pfizer within the last couple of weeks. And he said something like this, that trust is earned in dribbles and it's lost in buckets. That's a really good point. And then we acquire trust through working together. That was one statement. And then a very similar statement, but more to the point, came from Harry, which is that trust is established through action, through deeds. Action supports the claims of trust that we may make. What is that? Trust but verify. That would be a very political version of that. Mistrust is widespread currently. Our environment is fraught with uncertainty, which has resulted in fear. We don't want to be exposed, and we're afraid to connect. And I think what Jerry just said is most applicable there, which is let's find out where we are. What do we have in common? What are the points where we agree? And let's start there. Let's start our discussion there. Doesn't help to list for each of us to list our grievances or occasions for mistrust. And then one that I didn't bring up, but I thought of it when I was writing these notes down, which was we have low attendance in our club because we're relying on Zoom. We haven't met in person for quite a while, and I am certain that if it doesn't create mistrust, it enforces it. Stop there.
Thank you. None of this happens in a vacuum. So, I mean, when you talk about attendance, and we were talking about the Rotary Business Network yesterday, and right, Bill, and then we started talking about, yeah, but then that has to do with membership, and then nothing happens in a vacuum. It's all part of the big picture, and as leaders, we have to keep our eye on that big picture as best we can. Let's see, did I get everybody? I think I did. Vonnie, do you have another question we can ask them and give them, probably only 5 minutes this time?
This one, Bill has his hand up, his
Oh,
virtual
does he?
hand up. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sometimes you don't see.
Yeah, thanks. Just quickly, I found myself as I heard this feedback, thinking about the political season that's about to be upon us, and all the ads and propaganda that's going to come at all of us from all sides of the spectrum. And I'm just reminded about how easy it is for a Rotary Club to step in it and cause division by not, if clubs engage in discussion about candidates, for example, it's how important it is to hear from all sides. But it's not just clubs. Rotary itself, out of Evanston, the board stepped in it a couple of years ago over that Second Amendment issue, and it tore a number of clubs apart right here in District 5110. And so I just think at all levels of our organization, we need to be mindful about how easy it is to avoid poking somebody to just elicit responses that create unintended consequences.
Thank you. And I see Marv's got his hand up. You want to unmute, Marv?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
Bill brings up an interesting point, which I'd like to throw out to the group. With the political season coming, normally our club, opened it up for, people running for city council or commissioner for the county. But with the divide, and we invite everybody. If they choose to come, that is their option. And if they come or not, then we've had as many as 5 people talking at one of our meetings. During this time, I'd like to get some of the input from some of you. Do we not do that this year? Because it could start, light a fire, and maybe we have no way of putting it out. So.
Interesting question. Anybody have I'm not going to ask for an answer, maybe an observation.
This is Debbie. One of the things that I always, this goes back to the comment earlier about leadership and how critical leadership is when it comes to demonstrating trust, creating that environment, that culture. And I think that this is another one of those opportunities to step into the leadership space. And if not Rotary, who? I shared with our little group, I have hope in Rotary as being one of those organizations, one of those entities, because of the 4-way test, because of our culture, we might be able to help this country find its way back together again. So I would encourage us to not shy away from this opportunity. But boy, it's going to have to be with care.
No kidding. Thank you, Debbie. Mimi's got her hand up too.
I just feel that with the pandemic fatigue that so many people worldwide are experiencing, I feel it's more important right now to focus on our own members. And that's just my opinion, because I've noticed that some of our members that typically are acting totally different than they usually do. And until I read up on COVID fatigue, pandemic fatigue, it all makes sense. So we need to start with nurturing our own members so that we can build that trust again, and that they realize that it's not an individual person, it's what they're experiencing that they need to let all of us work together on. Build up our members and our attendance and help them before we reach out politically. That's my opinion.
True, true. Julie put in the chat, in case you didn't see it, from her perspective from Evanston, from Rotary International. For clarity, Rotary never said a Rotarian can't have guns. They said guns don't belong at Rotary events, as we are an international organization invested in peacekeeping. Julie, did you want to add anything to that?
Oh, I just wanted to add that, and I'm glad that that was brought up, because honestly, I think sometimes there's the telephone effect.
Yeah, I was just gonna.
Right, and I think sometimes we also attach, as we even, you all have been talking about, when politics do come up between members or issues in politics, there's that emotional trigger that can be tethered to it as well, that kind of blocks out hearing everything. And so just wanted to provide that clarity if there's ever any follow-up questions. But I keep thinking of this quote from Walt Whitman, where it's like, be curious, not judgmental, amongst everything that's being said here. So I'm just happy to be a fly on the wall. Thanks.
Well, thank you for that. And it goes back to what Vonnie said, lead with curiosity. Marv, I see your hand is up. Is that from before, or is it a new time? I guess it's from before.
It was before.
Now we don't have time for another breakout room, because I know I'll never get you back. Marv, you were started to say something? No?
I just said that was from before. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone want to sum up that didn't get a chance to talk? I know several of you didn't. Stephen, Becky, Patty, Harry, the other John. Cindy O'Neill, last year's district governor, is also here, and you've been sitting as a quiet fly on the wall too. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Not really. But I have a question. I was listening to Mimi say we need to nurture our members. And so my question is, Mimi, what would that look like, or what would those actions be to help our members feel nurtured?
Actually, I was going to ask you that, Cindy. I don't have the answers, but I just know that if we reach out politically when we're broken within, we need to concentrate on maybe listening to them more, or I don't know. I'd love to hear a solution.
This goes back to what Julie brought up, I think, is that, a lot of clubs did annual surveys of their membership, and some clubs didn't. Some of them were every third year or something, survey of the membership. But Julie, did you put the link in the chat box for us for the surveys?
I did. Can everyone see them? If not, I can repost it.
I
Okay.
will.
No.
I'll send that link out tomorrow with the wrap up and the video from today's session, so that you have that. But do another survey, or we have our membership director in our club is calling members. Just a personal reach out, because surveys, you get about maybe 35 to 50% participation, and you feel like you're doing good. And then what happens with the survey after that? Do you just do it and then put it in the bottom drawer and nobody looks at it again? Then people aren't going to be apt to answer surveys. So, you know, we have to keep trying, try different things, listen to people in these forums, find out what works in other clubs. Marv has his hand up again. So Marv, what do you think?
I'm thinking that I wouldn't want to call the members. I mean, with our members split, it could raise some other issues. So you're opening up a Pandora's box. I would rather go from a positive direction and look at our commonality and do it that way. And I think the survey is important, but to look at it and to see where people are for the board, I think is important, but not on a person-to-person basis, because somebody might get a little bit ticked off or may not like what they see and stuff like that. So,
and who is ever talking to that person better have a real level head, you know, that they don't get triggered by a word or a comment. Jerry, our district governor, and then Julie as well.
Three things. One is thank you, Christine, for your membership forum today. This has really been most interesting and a great, fruitful discussion. Number two, I want to say to Marv, you look a lot better. Marv, if you don't know, had about a Bell's palsy, and you're looking like you're in every day and every way getting better and better. And lastly, I want to say that John and Rob are side by side on my screen. They look like brothers from another mother, or different mothers, because the mustaches. Gray hair.
Summary. Good summary, District Governor. Let's see. And Julie, you had your hand up. You put it down.
Oh, I was just going to say really quickly, to use the surveys as a template, you know, make them, if people don't respond to surveys, which a lot of them don't, you know, maybe your next club assembly would be like small group discussions, and then trying to devise some action points on how to improve the club experience or that member experience. And I think the personal outreach doesn't always need to be based on a divisive issue. It can literally, I think that we become more divisive when we're stressed with personal things that are happening or when we don't feel seen. So even just being like, hey, you know, how are you doing? Like, I want to hear about how you're doing. And that can even be a text message. You know, if you got a large club, calling everyone could be a lot. But thanks for having me today.
Good points. And it's funny that we're talking about surveys, because I think next month we're talking about involving our membership, but the following month we're talking about surveys, and those are based on the last poll I did from this very group of what do you want to hear as our topics in the near future. So I thought I saw one other hand up, and who is it? I don't see it anymore. Okay, well, I've got a minute. I'm going to ask Vonnie if she has any parting words of wisdom. We didn't get through all your questions. I'm not surprised. This is a lively group.
No, actually the trigger was my next question. What are you triggered by? Because I think that's super important. And I really, just in closing, I want to say that the two takeaways for me from hearing from you, what you're saying, a couple of you, number one, if not the Rotary, then who? Accept that challenge. If not the Rotary, then who? What you do, or where you take that, I think depends on, you know, where your club is locally, but take it on. Mimi's point about folks are triggered. There's a lot of, you know, I think it was Mimi, I'm sorry if I missed this, but the pandemic fatigue, this is a real thing. And I started noticing it even among the best of business leaders in our community. I put myself in having some challenges myself. So let's, you know, give ourselves some grace, but let's acknowledge that and let's see what we can do. I do think that there are some professionals out there that can give some pretty strong programs for your members. I know the chambers are looking at, you know, health and wellness in local employers. That's a big topic of discussion because it matters. It matters to our total well-being, to our businesses, to our economy. So the part about if not the Rotary, then who? this is an important election cycle. It's important to all of our communities. I think you can do it regardless of the divisive nature. And we're dealing with the same thing. So I'm right there with you. We're talking about this. I'm trying to figure out what the best approach will be. The important thing will be a strong facilitator of that meeting, of that program, that discussion, and there are
Keep it
professionals.
neutral.
Yeah. So I thank you for having me here today. I really enjoyed.
Well, thank you so much. Let's
discussion
give
and
her a round of
from you.
applause. I want to summarize
Go
one
forth.
thing. Yeah. One thing I want to summarize too before I end the meeting for everyone is that trust comes in drops, distrust comes in buckets. So keep sprinkling, you guys. Just that's the job of the leaders, just keep sprinkling. Okay, we'll see you next month and I'll send out a summary tomorrow. And thanks again, Vonnie.
Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks, Chris.
Really excellent forum today.
Well
Good.
done.
Bye, everybody. Nicely
Bye,
done.
Chris. Thank you.
Au revoir.